we started rewatching House of the Dragon Season 2 to get ready for Season 3 that's coming out sometime next year. And we were just going through and trying to, rewatching it, comparing it to the book, and just kind of giving our thoughts on it.
Watching it with fresh eyes to see if it was as bad as we remembered.
We're two lore geeks. We like to do videos on our favorite movies and TV shows that are sci-fi and fantasy, like Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, and stuff like that. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, be sure to hit the like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. And we'll get right into the rewatch of House of the Dragon Season 2.
This is Season 2, Episode 1 that we're going to talk about today. This one was A Son for a Son. It was, pretty exciting to see the opening with the theme again, and I really like the tapestries that they're doing. I love the bloodlines as well. I like just how detailed the opening is. So we start in Winterfell, which is really exciting to see. Really exciting to see because we haven't seen Winterfell since the original show. So I also just wanted to mention that I love the casting for Cregan. I will have a lot to say about cast choices, including some that people are not going to agree with me with, and that's okay. But I really liked the casting for Cregan Stark. And I really loved seeing Winterfell and the Wall, even if Jace seemingly didn't go to the Wall in Fire and Blood. Still, who doesn't want to see it? So it was good for the visuals. Can I say something controversial?
What are you going to say?
I don't like Matt Smith as Daemon. It's not that I don't think that he has done a good job, and it's not because of the whole Daemon side quest storyline later. It's not any of that. I just don't think he looks like a Targaryen, and to me that's really important.
Well, they brought him for name value.
Well, I know, and I think he does a great job. I just don't think he looks like a Targaryen, and which is why I'm actually excited about a lot of the casting for Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, because I think a lot of their Targaryen men really look like Targaryen men. Sorry, not sorry. I think he does a great job.
Well, I think George is more hands-on on Knight of the Kingdoms in this show.
Yeah, well, a lot of the things that I'm going to say about this episode, but about Season 2 that I'm a little bit more critical of are things that he said himself. When we started watching it, the beginning of the episode, I started thinking maybe I was too critical about this. Maybe this actually is good. And then we get to the end, which we'll talk about in a minute, with Blood and Cheese, and I was like, oh, never mind. Actually, never mind. We don't have to talk about that yet. We can get there. But I do want to say that Aegon is stupid and has bad ideas. And this entire thing is Otto and Alicent's fault. And I think this is when they kind of start to figure that out. Like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have made this psycho the king, which is, also happened with Joffrey, except for Joffrey was worse. Aegon's not as cruel and crazy as Joffrey. He's just dumb, and he does dumb things, and he does things because they're fun, not because they're a good idea.
Well, at least he offered the sheep back to peasants.
The people of the realm?
Well, they're peasants to him, so yes.
Yeah, that was nice of him, but probably not the smartest thing to do under the circumstances since they're at war. I will say, sometimes when things are added to a show that aren't in a book, it can be a good thing. It can add value. And I think one of those things was Rhaenyra really finding the proof. Because remember, in the end of Season 1 is when Lucerys died. And so finding proof of that, not in the book, but it was really good. And one thing that I think we can say about Rhaenyra versus Alicent was that Rhaenyra seems to actually care about her children, whereas Alicent just so clearly does not. And that was very evident in this episode, as well as pretty much every episode. What did you think about Alicent and Kristen Cole?
It was all for the plot.
Larys manipulating Aegon, it's too easy. It's not even hard for him.
Aegon's not smart.
I know. Aegon is an idiot. And also we had the first brief appearance of Hugh Hammer.
Which, if you know in the book...
Are you going to tell the entire story?
We don't do that here.
Would you like to talk about Daemon and how when Blood and Cheese kind of ask him, what do we do if we don't find Aemond? The scene cut. So I like that. I think it makes his character a little more serious. We don't know, is he really bad, or is he just like kind of bad? Did he order the murder of a child?
Well, the thing is with this show, it makes Daemon seem more like a hero than regular villain.
Daemon is a villain.
Yeah.
Like, Daemon is...
after his own ambitions. But this show paints him more of a hero.
Which I don't... Right now, which I don't love. I think that'll take a drastic turn in season 3, but we'll see. And we're not going to talk about it yet because I don't want to get into it too soon because I don't really know what they're going to do in season 3 because they've seemingly cut Nettles and that storyline's going to be really weird if they change that dynamic. So
we need justice for Nettles.
Justice for Nettles.
My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined.
Speaking of justice, we also need justice for this poor dog. Did
they actually kick the dog?
I'm sure they didn't actually kick the dog. No animals were harmed.
Let's call PETA.
I love the dog. I don't like to see them hurting the dog, but I think the dog, like, I was hoping that I don't know why you would watch this.
Dog was also very unimportant.
In a really long way, trying to say is that I thought something really cool was going to happen with this dog in this season, and it didn't. Just the dog's just like running around. It was so stupid. Like, why would you have? Well, they forgot about the direwolves in Game of Thrones, so
they did. But a good thing we just revived them.
Good thing we have direwolves again.
Scientists say they've now brought them back.
I literally until yesterday didn't know that direwolves ever actually existed.
Where do you think George got the idea?
I just,
They warg into them.
Sometimes there's also things like dragons. Like, dragons aren't...
Yet.
Not yet. So my least favorite, by far, part of this episode is Blood and Cheese. The beginning of the episode was really okay. Everything was going pretty well. There was a lot of emotion and a lot of things like that. And then the scene happened, and I remembered why I had concerns the first time or two that I watched it. You shouldn't be able to feel more from reading this than watching it. And you did. It was so, like, first of all, Alicent and Kristen Cole. They're doing it. We get it. And to have that stupid scene with her there with Kristen instead of her, as it was in the book, being there when it happened, I think takes so much from it. It takes so much from...
But then how would they explain the Kristen and Alicent love affair?
We saw them earlier in the episode. That explained it right there. That was the second time we saw them. Like, we didn't...
But then how would we just have Elena alone?
She wasn't alone in the books. That's the whole point. She shouldn't have been alone. They could have... It wasn't done well, and there were a lot of reasons for it, and I think the main one is that we know, and we've talked about the fact that Alicent doesn't really give a damn about her children, but there's no real reason to think that Helena doesn't, except for the way that she reacted to this. Like, in the book, she offered for them to kill her, and in the show they're like, "Ooh,
take this necklace.
I have this necklace if you want it," and then they're like, "No, we don't want the necklace. We want to kill the boy. Which one is it?" She's like, "Oh, it's that one. So just go ahead." And I it's not that I wish it was a more violent scene. Like, you don't really want a violent scene for a little child, but it's not the violence that's what it was missing. It was any sort of emotion,
and also a whole ass other child.
Yeah, and I think that. Obviously, this is one of the biggest things. Maelor, it does not exist. And I think that made the choice for Helena so difficult in Fire and Blood is that they said, which one do you want us to kill? and she picked the younger one because she thought he didn't know what was going on. And then they tell Jaehaerys, they're like, oh, your mom, we're gonna kill you. And then they tell Maelor, your mom doesn't love you, she chose you to die, which, I mean, he's 2, I don't know if he really knew, if he did know what was going on, but like that, all of the emotion, all of everything from that didn't exist. And they, even if they didn't want Maelor in it for whatever reason, and he plays kind of an important part later, so they're gonna have to...
They'll give it to another... his role to another character.
Who knows?
Like they did with Nettles.
I guess it's not as bad as removing Nettles. I was so pumped for that when we watched it, because like I said, he hadn't read the book at that time, and I'd read it like 20 times by then, and I was like, blood and trees, this is gonna happen. Like, I didn't say what it was, and then after it happened, I'm like, oh, my bad. Now you have to read the book, because it was really...
Much better.
It was much better.
Mr. Coddle knows better than George.
Well, I don't think that anybody thinks that except for him, Ryan Condal himself. And he's like, oh, you have to make choices in TV. Well, you don't have to make bad ones. So I can only say that I hope they try to make up for this. And there will be lots of other things to critique about season 2. And I'm also going to try to say things that I like about it. Like I said, I love Jacaerys's casting. I think that's great. He looks like a Targaryen, but at the same time, he's got the dark hair. Love that. I think he was cast really well. I think he's a really good actor. I really liked Cregan Stark's casting. I loved going to Winterfell. What?
He was a good casting.
Yeah. There were a lot of things that I liked, and so I don't want to focus only on the bad. But when I see things that are bad,
gotta call them out.
I'll probably mention it, and you can disagree with me. And if you don't agree with me about Matt Smith, that's fine. It's just my opinion. Sorry, he doesn't look like a Targaryen. I said what I said.
But to each their own.
To each their own.
So
he's done a really great job. I will say that. A lot of the casting in this is so good. Like Rhaenyra, amazing. Emma has done an incredible job with her. So there are a lot of things that are positives, but there are definitely more negatives with season 2. But we're gonna watch episode 2 next, and we'll come back with our thoughts, and hopefully you'll have more thoughts, because I feel like this was just my thoughts and my thoughts and my notes.
You're more critical than I am. I'm just like, well, that was nice. Some things could have been better, but overall, entertaining.
Are you not entertained?
So we'll go on to episode 2 next, and we'll give our thoughts. And if you enjoy these kind of videos, be sure to hit that like button and hit subscribe to get more content like this and more, and to support us here on YouTube. So thanks for watching.
And if you have rewatched this recently, let us know your thoughts, and if what you thought about it changed the second time around. So I would be interested to see what other people think that are watching it, trying to watch it with a fresh perspective.
Yep, for sure. So drop those comments down below, and we'll see you on the next video.